Welcome in everyone to another episode of Lawn Care Skull Sessions. I'm Ben from Catch Pro Australia. I got the bearded lawnsman here with me.
Pale.
G'day, how are ya?
Yeah, fucking alright, mate. How are you doing?
Not too bad. We're just coming off the back of our freestyle episode.
Yeah.
That was a bit of fun.
Yeah, did a bit of freestyling, which is cool.
I think every now and again we need to just, bust out a freestyle, get some shit off our chest.
Talk some shit.
We have got a little bit of feedback, but it'd be great if everyone else can comment your feedback. Let us know how you feel about this, because the first freestyle episode that we ever did, it was a little bit slow, I remember. And people were kind of a little bit like, oh, geez, I don't know if I really want to listen to a no-topic episode.
Yeah.
But throughout the weeks, I guess when people were looking for content, they went back and listened to it.
Yeah.
And it went all right.
Yeah, it's weird how it works sometimes. It's maybe one topic will grab someone's attention, and then all of a sudden they'll go back and they'll listen to a few more and start from the start and go all the way through. It's funny, I actually listened from the start the other day. I listened to our number one.
And like I went back, I guess it was maybe a month or two ago, and had a look at our first episode on YouTube. And I can't remember if I commented to you or not, but I looked pissed off, eh? Like I looked angry. Like I looked like I was being just made to do it.
You were I did make you to do it.
I know that that's true, but at the same time, like I don't remember feeling that way.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I was a little nervous.
Yeah. Well, now 32 episodes in, can't do anything about it now. We've got to keep rolling.
Yeah, and speaking of rolling, our pod brother Gary, he's on a roll.
Yeah, man.
Getting some really good interviews. He dropped some bonus content.
Yeah, did you say boner content?
I've said a mix between boner and bone ass.
Wow.
What I was really going for then was bonus content with Luke Smith.
Yeah, Luke Smith was on again. He's a bit of a podcast.
And he is a podcast whore bag.
He is.
He's a bit looser than what I thought he was.
Yeah, which is good. He tightens his belt when he gets with Gary, though.
Yeah. But hey, it's good to be able to put that business hat on and still be a normal person at the same time. So, maybe we can learn a thing or two. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Like that.
Before we get into today's topic, let's give a quick plug to the dudes over at Stripe Life.
Fuck yeah, boys.
Stripe Life World Order is for life. Those dudes over there, they've got awesome page.
Cracking content.
Yeah. Kenny Morris, who I believe is the admin.
Yep.
There's another dude, Josh Squad. I know I fucked that up. No disrespect, Josh. Kenny Morris is just an easier name to say,
it is,
right?
really.
But those dudes, man, they're full digging the Australian.
Yeah.
They love the Australian content and way.
They do.
And they want as many Aussies to join the Stripe Life as possible.
So do it. No, they have sick memes or memes or what are we calling them?
Come on, dude. At least call them memes.
Memes, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm right. I reckon I'm right.
My daughter's going to stab me in the throat one day. Suck at this.
My daughter struggled to talk. So yeah, I'd say it's memes.
Memes, all right.
But they're funny as those dudes. They're really down to earth.
When your offsider sees a snake in the grass, that was fucking gold.
I noticed that Ballard pulls a lot of they seem to get the memes in, and then Ballard sees it and like, oh hell yeah, we got to use that.
Yeah, well, we use a few of them on the Skull Sessions Instagram page. So actually, there's something that I would love to get some photos from all the people who listen. If you could just throw them at us on our Instagram, like tag us, even if it has nothing to do with our podcast, and we'll just throw them up. Like, it's all about sharing the love.
Yeah, we need content, because on the Catch Pro page, we get tagged left and right.
Yeah.
So the content is not that difficult to find, because people are like, yo, I bought this or I bought that, or whatever. And you can just share that content real easy.
Yeah.
On the Skull Sessions, it's usually just me and BJ
there's only so many photos we can put up of us.
But, if you want to send in, like, say, a photo of you listening to the podcast or viewing it or whatever the
we
case
get lots
is.
of them, and as soon as they come through, we share them. So if you're looking to
it'd be cool.
share some content, share it to us.
It'd be cool if someone could make a NOLA meme.
A NOLA meme.
Just a drunk lady looking at two dudes mowing,
It's fucked now because that's what I'm going to go home doing.
or like a Bipper Dipper meme.
Yeah, there's people who have started calling them Bipper Dippers all over the place.
Oh,
now.
mate, it's happening.
It's awesome. It's,
Yeah.
it's on.
I'd like to see a critter meme.
Yes.
Look at the fucking critters.
Yeah. What do you got for us, man? You got a review?
I do. Sorry, I thought we were going somewhere else. We do have a new.
Where do you want to go?
Let's just stay here. Okay, we got a new review from R Steel. So I believe this is the second review. If you want to take the flow.
R Steele writes after giving us 5 stars. Really enjoying the podcast. Love the banter and your thoughts on equipment and the industry. Keep them covering wide Beaumont Nature Lawns Brisbane. Fucking
Okay.
Wade Beaumont Nurtured Lawns Brisbane.
I was about to say that was
In the last episode, I had to do a couple of fucking reads, and I am shocking. So
Yeah, I was about to say you cooked that,
I
but
fucking cooked it
but,
so bad. That's going to be a fucking meme for sure.
you just cooked the cooked.
Cook the cook. Can you even do that?
Wade Beaumont from Nurtured Lawns in Brisbane. Thank you very much for the review. We totally respect that.
Yeah.
And hey, you're a Brisbane boy. Maybe you can make it onto the show. So on today's topic, well, do we have anything else to quickly chat about before we get in amongst the topic?
Oh, look, most stuff kind of resonates with this.
Sure.
I think the weather is going to be a big factor in this podcast.
Yep.
Not really. It's just a factor in my life I'd like to whinge about. I've missed out on some time lately because of the rain.
It's raining right now.
I hate it.
So, all right, without further ado, we are going to today be talking about finance versus cash purchases. Now, I guess we should put a disclaimer out there. BJ and I are not accountants.
How do you know that? Nah.
We're not accountants.
Yeah.
We are not qualified to be giving financial advice.
No. So Rob Shearer brought this up in our Skag Down Under
God,
episode.
why don't you just fucking get a room with this dude?
Well, I tried to, but he wouldn't have me. Nah. So he brought it up right at the end of our last episode. So that's kind of spurred us on to attack this little topic.
All right, now I've just got a quick little sidebar.
Yeah, is it a...
So apparently Rob Shearer had a conversation with Paul Sheehan.
Oh, really?
Now, Paul Sheehan is the chairperson. He's the head dude, right, over at Power Up Lawn Care, which is the distributor of Bush Ranger power equipment along with Hustler Turf equipment, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And he said to me, that Paul said, "Oh, suck shit, you have to be on the Skull Sessions tonight."
Ugh.
I'm not fucking doing that. Well, you know what, Paul? Fuck you.
I'm coming for you, Paul, and I'm coming with a fucking bikini on.
Now,
So...
what I want the listeners to do is, in all seriousness, because I have to say that I wasn't being 100% serious then, because I probably will sacrifice some business opportunities.
And Paul will probably bash you.
But Paul Sheehan is someone, look, he is a busy man.
Yeah.
It is not an easy thing being the CEO of anything.
Yeah.
And this is a sidebar, like, this is a freestyle. We didn't talk about this.
No.
But let us know if you want us to have the chairperson of Power Up Lawn Care Products on the show. I honestly think you and I did the tour of the factory. It is a great piece of Australian business history in this space. They have tons of brands: Stiga, GA, fucking ProCut. The list goes on. So let us know if you want that content, and I'll start pitching it harder.
Yeah, sweet.
But I don't know what his deal is. Maybe we're just beneath him.
Maybe. Maybe.
It is true. Like, he's the chairperson of a big company.
That's
we're just
exactly
two
right.
fucking cowboy pirates out here doing what we do.
Talking about bikinis and fucking crop tops.
But we will fuck you up if you don't get on this show. All right, we're going to talk about finance.
Let's get out of here. Let's talk about finance.
Let's get out of here.
Fuck.
I fucked everything, didn't I? First.
It's all right, mate. No, he should come to the party, with a bit of coaxing. I don't know. You know him better than I do.
Maybe not anymore. All right. So we're going to talk about finance now.
Yeah.
Look, we've got several topics that we can touch on with finance. We can talk about equipment, vehicles, trailers, credit history,
Yeah.
cash flow, and being in charge of your own money.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure that we can probably, you know, as this episode goes on, I'm sure we can drum up some extra topics. Now, there is a certain amount of people out there that are going to disagree with this.
Yeah.
Which is what?
That's fine. This is our opinion, our experiences. It's fine to have a disagreement about opinions and...
There's also going to be, as we like to say, a fair bit of meat on the bone. There's going to be variables.
Damn.
You know, this if you win the lotto and you've got $1 million, you ain't financing nothing,
No.
right? Now, if you are a fucking pokey junkie and you just cannot keep a hold of your money, probably another reason why you're not going out and financing all this shit.
Yeah.
Some people make dumb choices when they're younger.
That's it.
Their credit history is flogged out. Like, I'm not going to say that. So this is just generalized info. Once again, what we like to say, we just like to breeze over some of this stuff,
Yeah.
bring it to the forefront, and then you guys make your own decision.
And in saying that, some of the younger people, they don't even have a credit history. Like, that's a very important thing to have. It's it doesn't sound like it, but when you're in a pickle, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, so this was further on down my list, but let's just quickly touch on it while we're here. I just want to give everyone a little brief history into some credit history news. So a personal friend of mine, actually is my brother-in-law, who's not in the mowing business, right?
Yeah.
This is just a quick, brief sidebar that can shed some insight. So when we were growing up, we were all buying our first cars. And for some reason, he had it in his head, he's like, you know, I want to own my first car. And so he did that. Then, you know, he wanted a different car. So he sold it, saved up some money, bought his next car, and on until we, you know, got to the age of 30, which, believe it or not, was only about 6 years ago. Eventually, when he went to get a mortgage, you know, he had a bunch of assets,
Yeah.
which depreciate very quickly. Like if you buy, you know, unless you buy a Ram truck, of course.
Fuck off.
No, but like he had bought an old Land Cruiser, which was worth whatever amount. But, you know, once you take it out for driving and once it's got a certain amount of miles, or let's say kilometres, because we're fucking Australian, the market value for that vehicle is not worth what it was when you bought
it is fucking now. If you get a Land Cruiser now, it's like $7 billion.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe bad judgment. But anyway, when he went to go and get a mortgage finance, they just looked at it and they're just like, well, we could see your income. You know, you've made all right income. You got a couple of assets, but you don't have any fucking credit history. You're using a fucking prepaid phone. You own all your vehicles. Like, there isn't really any proof that you can pay a loan off. He never had a personal loan to get his cars or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so it's really just one way that, you know, financing bits and pieces throughout your life really adds to credit history.
Yeah.
If you can prove that you can pay off a loan in those terms, you know, it's out there. That's your credredit history.
Yep.
Otherwise, you could just be some drug dealer. You could be just, you know what I mean? Like these days.
Yeah, mad cash flow.
Yeah. You know, and all businesses, you know, face it. Like I know, you know, and I don't want any tax nuts going crazy, but at one point in my life, before I wanted to be registered for GST, this is going back quite some time now, but to stay under the 75 income threshold, I used to, you know, roughly do like say 50,000 or 60, or I used to keep it under 75.
Yeah.
Of invoicing, and then we'd have like a $20,000 or $30,000 cash element, which was like, fuck you, tax office, this is mine.
Yeah.
But you know, later on, as your business progresses, if you're not registered for GST, no one really looks at you as shit.
No.
And it doesn't matter. You can have, you know, let's say let's say right now, if you want to buy a Skag, there's 2 points of criteria. One is an ABN, the other is to be registered for GST.
Yeah.
Now, if I had used my old business model, I wouldn't even be able to finance
a Skag, never mind your fucking Ram truck.
That's right.
Yeah.
Credit history is like a pretty big piece of it.
Huge.
So keep that in mind.
Well, I had none until I met my wife, and she's like, she worked for a bank when we first met.
Really?
Yeah, she
Damn.
she was quite up in the banking system. Very smart cookie I have, and she looked at my accounts. We were only together about a month, and she's like, "You're with the same bank I work for. Can I look at your accounts and see where you're losing all your money?" Mainly at the pub.
Lucky you have an amazing penis, or she would have just left you straight
Fucking
up.
oath. She would have just kicked me to the curb. It's lucky it's just average. So no, but she looked at my stuff and look, I had so much trouble getting a loan because I just had no credit history, and they were like just fucking on me. I'd lived by myself since I was 17, so I had fucking rental history for a couple of years. And I went for my first car. I was a late bloomer. I didn't get my fucking license till I was like 20. I drove, but I didn't have a license.
Oh, you're bad.
But yeah,
You used to drive my cars, right?
No. Yeah, I did. I used to have a car underneath my house like all the time. So
I used to get pissed at BJ's. Like, I'd drive my car around
yeah,
with all the boys,
Yeah.
bumming up for the bus. And then, you stagger home at night. And then you know what? Wake up, dude, where's my car?
someone's got to get it to you.
Hey, BJ, are you hungry, brother? You want some bacon and eggs?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Give us me fucking car.
Do I look like someone who wouldn't turn down bacon and eggs? Yeah,
So
no.
then, BJ jumps in the old DeVille. That's what we had back then, DeVille.
Yeah.
I say we because we were married.
Oh, we were inseparable. We had some fun, but all that fun led me down the path of I don't need a car because everybody's always around, so I never bothered getting a license. And then all of a sudden I met this amazing woman, and I was like, fuck, she gonna think I'm shit. So she didn't know I didn't have a license until a couple, like maybe 2 weeks in. So
Now,
already had her.
the important part of this credit history story is really like the sense that when you're in the lawn mowing or landscaping industry, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
So, let's just take your business model or say business history as an example.
Yeah.
At one point, you had a modest Hilux with like a $2,500 single axle trailer.
Probably like that, yeah.
What are we jumping, like say 2 years ahead?
Yep, 2 years.
And your trailer is valued at, or say build, make, well, cost price?
Like
you
comparable is like, I paid
No, what you
about
paid.
9.3.
Yeah, okay. So 9.3 and you're about to pull the pin or at least receive a new...
Yep,
Truck,
new truck.
yeah,
and
valued at-
56k.
Okay, so just to put that into context, right? You've gone into a business venture and, you're modest business, okay, I've got a single axle trailer, right, that's great. And I'm sure you probably paid for that, right?
Yeah, I paid for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, when you jump 2 years forward and you need to expand, how is it that you're expanding? How is it that you're, say, getting the trailer, truck, and potentially new mowers?
I put everything on paper and I justified what I could spend in repayments.
Give me the fucking answer I'm looking for. You're
I
financing
financed
it.
So
Gee.
I was getting there. Fuck's sakes, mate. Jumping the fucking head. It's telling a story, No, so I financed it. So we looked at what our income was, and we realised that we needed a vehicle. And fuck me, if utes, like dual cab utes, aren't the same price as a truck anyway. So I looked at the money I'd be saving on fuel straight away because it's a diesel. I looked at my larger towing capacity, all that sort of bullshit. That all went into it. But then I also looked at, I'm not going to have a GST bill for this quarter. That's straight away. That's like $5,600 that I don't have to pay on my GST bill. Plus, it's an instant tax write-off. So I got $56,000 off my taxable income. That's fucking huge.
Which you already own you have a mortgage, so that doesn't mean fuck all in terms of borrowing power.
No, exactly.
Now, I just want to say quickly, as you were saying that, you know, we don't really need people to justify their purchases. Like, I know you sort of going on, you're like, oh, I weighed this and I weighed that.
To myself and my situation, in my eyes, I justify it to myself.
Yeah, but what I'm more or less trying to get at is that, let's say, right now, okay, let's say I had said to you, BJ, I can't do the 40-acre property anymore.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. I want you to do it. And you're like looking at it and you're like, well, fuck, I'm going to get a 61-inch mower.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that's the scenario. Now, what's like a 61-inch Turf Tiger worth?
I think like 27.
Okay, let's
say 27.
Yep, fair enough. So 27, and could you tow that with your trailer? Or
Yeah.
Do you need, okay.
No, I can tow it on my trailer.
Okay, cool. So 27. So let's say you need to go out and organise that tomorrow. Are you paying cash for it, or are you financing that Turf Tiger?
Financing it straight away.
Now, this is probably a little bit personal. Do you have the cash? Like, do you actually have 27,000 to buy it?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, I know this is off the dome. Like, you know, I'm hitting you with some real shit. But, like, if you obviously didn't really consider paying cash.
No.
$27,000 cash purchase, right? Now, this was going to be later on in the episode, our cash flow segment.
Yeah.
But we're here now.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So let's say, what would be your reasoning behind not going all in and paying 27 for that?
So with our cash flow, we basically have a couple of things set in place. So we have our float. So we have a float that's for all of our wages and everything, and that's a fortnight to fortnight float that we have. Then we have our backup, which is where we keep the bulk of our money. I do not want to take $27,000 out of my backup and just use that all. That would deplete that backup way, way down. I don't know what's going to happen around the corner. I don't know. There's things that you might not be able to finance, like if there's a fucking tree goes through my roof and things like that. I want that backup money.
Yep. So even taking into account, let's say that the 40 acres is worth $2,000 a cut, which is what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's just easy to use.
Yeah.
But let's say that's worth $2,000 a cut. So we cut it. We don't cut it every fortnight, but in the summer months, it's actually the majority. Like, I think it's 22 cuts, or it might be 18 cuts. I don't know.
It's good.
So let's say you can almost bank off $1,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to call it profit because there's a fuel element and obviously a labour element.
Yep.
But it's $1,000 a week. Like, let's say gross.
Yeah.
So even though that you're going to make, if you pulled that 27 out and put that cash purchase there, that in 27 weeks you can make that up. You're still not confident enough?
No.
Now, briefly... Oh, no, I'm just fucking...
No, go for it.
Just as accurately as you can, do you know what that finance would cost you roughly per week? Like, I think on my V-Ride, I'm paying, like, say, 89.
It might be around... It depends on your finance. Yeah, maybe like 120, something like that.
Yep.
I can give you all the figures for my truck too, because it's actually really it's another good purchase. I've got a few recent figures for. So.
Yeah. So in terms of we've nailed down the credit history. In terms of cash flow, your larger purchases, it's definitely smarter to look at. Now, if you've got I'm not going to ask you what your current float is, because that's...
Yeah.
But, let's say your current float was let's say you needed 50 grand as a float, but you had 150.
Yeah.
Do you think that would change your mind? It doesn't matter either way.
I might put a large deposit on it, and then that will shorten the term of the loan. But not really. I'd probably still finance some of that, because, cash is king. Like, keeping that cash in my pocket means more to me than,
Yep. Okay.
Yep. It's hard to explain. Like, from my point of view, like that's how I've always worked. That's how my business works. I finance things. I own my ute. So that was finance, but I've paid it off now. So I own that outright. I paid for my trailer outright.
Oh, you did pay for your trailer?
Yeah, I paid for my trailer outright.
So maybe when we're talking about like, you know, because I guess the trailer is under a 10,000. See, me personally, I would still finance the trailer. Now, I can tell you the reasons why I would. First of all, I might just use Catch Pro as a little bit, like we'll try and set the stage here a little bit. So, we have, you know, we've got distributors that we work with, like Equipment Defender.
Yep.
Ballard Products. Help me. IsoTunes, Ericsson.
Yeah.
You know, so we have a number of different suppliers, along with the factory where we make the Catch Pro, the wheel locker, and two products that I don't even think are released yet.
Pro Shields there as well.
The Pro Shields, we make them there. The new Catch Pro mower caddy.
Oh, yeah, yep.
That's not out yet, but that is something that we make. So what it means is, like, when we do a run of Catch Pro units, I believe it costs us about $37,000 just for those parts.
Yep.
Depending on how many we get. I don't want people to get too far into the maths because then they'll figure out, you know, what I'm making.
Yeah.
But you know, when we have to fork out $37,000, right? It's a risk.
Yeah.
It's a really big business risk because if you are not selling those Catch Pros, you know, you'll never be able to buy any more.
Right.
And so what we have is we have a $50,000 line of credit, which is a bank overdraft. And I don't think that they hand those out, you know, that much anymore.
No, I don't think
so what we do is I'm pretty sure the interest is pretty high, but it's the price that you pay. So what it is for us is we're able to draw from that $50,000 line of credit.
Yep.
For products. We can have those products on the market ready for sale, and as those products sell, we just pour that back into that line of credit until it balances. Now, without that line of credit, Catch Pro would not exist.
Yeah.
Now, I've talked about this before. Let's say Corey Ballard, for example. He sent us 200 Darwin grips, which cost us about $10,000 Australian.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't pay for them. We didn't pay for them. He sent them over. You know, essentially we launched pre-sales to sell whatever product we could to begin to make those repayments. Now, whilst that's not finance, it's exactly the same principles.
Yeah.
So cash flow, I just think, is so important.
Yeah.
Now, when you have employees, you know, you're experiencing this now.
Yep.
I know my employees cost me like $2,500 a week or something.
Mm-hmm.
In wages and insurances, etc.
Pretty much the same.
And so what happens is if you're running an invoice-based business, you know, you can do $5,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much money people collect every week. I don't fucking collect 5,000.
Yeah.
We do all right these days because we've downsized our business. But you need to have $2,500 of cash flow every week just to pay your workers.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this solo operator environment, it might be a little different.
Yeah.
You know, you really only have to look after yourself. But I think that, you know, financing versus cash flow is, look, to me, I think it's a no-brainer. Now, like I said, you and I are not financial gurus.
No.
We're not mathematicians.
No. And there are people that are out there that you can seek individual advice from. These are just our experiences. Again, we have to keep reiterating that because we will get some kickback. But this is just how we work our business. like with even my Skags, like there's a difference between financing something that you just want, like if I want a fucking jet ski, yeah, and then something that you need, like something that's going to generate cash.
Mm-hmm.
So with my Skags, yes, they're on finance, but they make me a fucking ton of money, and I wouldn't be able to make a ton of money without those Skags on my fucking rig. And it doesn't have to be a Skag; it'd be fucking any brand, whatever. But it's the same.
It could
with
be
trailer.
a Toro Grandstand.
Could be a Toro Grandstand, or it could be a fucking Right. But same with the trailer. Like if you're, you can up your efficiency by taking that risk and throwing a little bit of money into finance. So lots of guys, I'm saying Skag again, 32-inch stander. Lots of guys are throwing an extra 2 or 3 lawns on a day. I get comments like that all the time. And an extra 2 or 3 lawns a day demolishes the small price, the weekly price of like $80. It just fucking blows it out of the water. So you're making triple or, quadruple what you would.
Or at least breaking yourself. Now, let's say, let's not really hide behind this. Even if you're breaking yourself even. So let's say you buy a V-Ride.
Yep.
And you finance it, what are they retailing, like 14 or something?
Yeah, 15.
Or am I? Okay,
No,
15.
15.
Let's say it costs you like $69 a week. Even if you are only doing one job and you're breaking yourself even, you ain't fucking going backwards.
No.
It's still not a bad gig.
No,
Like, you got a 32
And there's the
V-Ride.
other benefits for that. Like if you come across something that, you couldn't do with a push mower, you can do it on the ride-on.
Yeah, like say 1,000 squares of blue cooch.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously you can do that with a push.
Yeah,
and
but
tons of people do.
Yeah,
But realistically, you're going to have way more fun doing that on a V-Ride.
Fuck yeah. And you're going to do it way more efficiently.
And this is not even about Skag or V-Rides.
No.
This is legitimately about
Our experiences.
financing, cash flow,
Yeah.
etc. So I did want to touch a little bit on the risk.
Yeah. Oh,
So let's say, BJ, you had tons of money in the bank.
yes.
And I was just going to hand you this 40 acres. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to get this turfy.
Yes.
You go and get it for you drop your 27. The next week, you got COVID and you need to sit at home for a week. Talk about the impact that could potentially have. Because it's all potential. It's all,
Well, potentially I'd be one payment down and I'd have to take that out of my cash flow. That's
No.
how I
So
see it.
so that's if you were financing.
Oh, but if you
But
so if you
I'm
lose
talking
it-
about you took that 27 grand out
Okay.
and you went down. You bought that and then you couldn't. So let's say you're a business that's grossing 10 grand a week.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, I got 10 grand a week, man, and I'm saving like 5 of it.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks, you're like, man, I could pay for this thing in like a month.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and spend it. But then you are off with COVID. But then when you get out of your isolation, half of Australia's flooding.
Yeah.
What are some of those repercussions of not getting that finance as opposed to going out and, and as you said, you'd be one or two payments down, which is what do we say? Like
$300. Say
Tops.
$300. Yeah.
tops.
For me, like I'd be panicking a bit. I mean, if you've got a 7-day period where you can't work, and then another 7-day period where you've got rain, that's 20 grand you're down already. So that's almost the price of your mower that you've just spent all this money on. The world is so uncertain at the moment. There's families I know that have kids that get COVID, wait 5 days, someone else gets COVID, that's another 7 days, another person gets it. They've been fucking in lockdown for, like 3 weeks, and they can't do a damn thing about it, and the government gives you $700. So $700, it doesn't go that far when you run your own business. So that's why I like to keep the money in my bank, so I can make my payments. And don't forget, when you miss a payment, then you fucking get fees on top of it. That's another risk. But I would like to keep my payments going, and I don't have to worry about them because I do have a surplus of cash. That's just how I like my life to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same.
Well, that leads me to my next topic, which is being in charge of your own money. Now, we've talked about, so some people might think that I'm really just trying to talk about the same thing. But what I mean about being in charge of your own money is when you finance something, obviously you get to keep your cash flow and your float.
Yeah.
Now, if you give that money away, let's say you blow the 27 grand, you no longer have the power to earn any interest of any of those funds.
Yeah.
The more money that you can keep in your bank account, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
In terms of earning interest. Now, people have all sorts of shit set up, interest accounts and bits and pieces.
Offset accounts on their home loans.
Like you can leave this bulk here for so long and that earns so much. I'm not going to get into those figures just because I'm probably too dumb.
My wife handles a lot of the money, so she can go into that with you one day and you can relay that on one of these podcasts.
Yeah, now, but what I do mean by it is, let's say I think my V-Ride, for example, I can't remember if it was like a 3 or 5 year term.
Yep.
But there is like a consensus out there that, okay, you're gonna finance something, finance it over like the minimum amount of time. Now, I don't know that I 100% believe in that, because if you finance something, especially like a big purchase, I'm talking 17 plus. If you finance something over 5 years as opposed to 3 years, it's going to lower your payments. Now, people will say, okay, but you're going to pay more ultimately at the end, which is true. We're not going to gloss over that. You pay more interest, and so you end up paying more. But what it means is that you're always in charge of your own money.
Yeah.
And I think being in charge of your own money is very, very important. What it would mean is that, let's say you finance a mower or a trailer over 3 years and your payment is $60. No, $80. Let's go with 80.
Yeah, 80. And
you finance it over 5 years and your payment is lower.
Yeah.
You have the power to pay $20 or $30 extra, right? Per week. So if you have a horrible scenario, where it's flooding, or you're fucking injured, or you pop like 7 tires in a week,
what?
Something like that, you have the ability to either draw back or absorb like 1 or 2 weeks off. Like, you could just ring that finance company and be like, hey, can you pause my payment? Like, I'm ahead this amount.
Yeah.
Can you pause my payments? They're all things that keep you in charge of your own money.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, I think there could be a downside to this.
There is.
What's the downside, pal?
So the downside is you have to look at your terms and conditions. So some loans out there will penalise you for early termination of contract.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So they will make you pay the pro rata amount of interest whether you've paid it out early or not. These are all things that you have to do your due diligence. Is that right? Due diligence, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, that's one thing. So there's been a few loans that I've had in the past. Definitely.
Yeah, I know, for example, on my Ram truck, and if you don't want to hear about this, go and get fucked. No, I think on my Ram truck, I think it is a 5-year finance.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of that 5 years, I think I have to pay a bulk sum of 25 grand.
Oh, so it's like a balloon payment at the end. It's like a loan. It's like a loan car. And you can get a new one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But no. So I can get a new one, but that one still will only resale for its market value.
Okay.
I think they do that. Now, look, they might have done that because maybe my, say, weekly or monthly repayments were just going to be too gnarly. I don't know. But yeah, they're all things to consider. Now, I know that when I looked at that, I was just like, oh, give us the truck, eh?
Yeah. So with my truck, it was the same. So,
okay.
So they gave me 4 contracts. There were 2 over 4 years and 2 over 5 years. They give you one for just the, pay it off to own it, and then they'd give you a separate one with lower fees. And they were not really considerably lower. So one was about $1,000 a month, and one was about $890 a month. So at the end of that $890 one, you pay a balloon payment of like $16,000, and then you get a brand new truck to jump in. I wasn't fucking with that. My warranty and my roadside assistance wouldn't even have run out by then. So I just was like, no, we'll just we'll pay it until it's paid off, and then it's mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's similar things, but you've gone a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to think that far ahead in life about what, will there be a need for me to change vehicles? It's really pretty irrelevant actually in this in this conversation. So we won't gloss on that anymore. But look, being in charge of your own money, cash flow and credit history, they're all very, very, very important things.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about finance, obviously vehicles and trailers are kind of like they're one of those things where it's kind of like some people just have no option but to finance them, right?
It depends on the trailer. Like, you can go and drop 20 G's on a trailer like that.
So what we want to touch on is a few pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
Now, we have talked about, let's say larger zero turns. But, like, let's just say we're talking about whippersnippers.
Yeah.
Beppa-deppers. Now, we're not really telling people, like, for a $700 whippersnipper, go down and finance it, right?
But you can if you want to.
Fucking oath you can.
So
you can be whatever the fuck you want to be.
Do it. I dare ya. No, so what I was thinking with equipment is, say you do the kind of work, you're targeting the work that we want to target. You've just started out, you've bought all this petrol stuff, and you get this massive opportunity for a retirement village, but you can only use battery gear there. So you fucking roll
You're
up.
reading my mind. I'm like coming at you with this, and
come at me all day.
You're saying, stop that.
Yeah, so when you roll in, they're like, so we only take contractors that use battery equipment. You can say, fuck, yeah, I got battery stuff. Don't worry about that. I got battery stuff, and then you fucking run to your Ego dealers, your fucking Husky dealers, whatever, your Bushies.
Straight down to Trade Tools.
Straight down to Trade Tools, and you fucking say, give me what you got on credit. And you get yourself what you need to get by. What's our motto?
Do what you got to do to get through.
100%. And this would be a case where I would not even hesitate about putting it on finance, because you know that you will make your money back. And, you put $3,000 or $4,000 worth of battery equipment onto finance, and you've got like an $80,000 to $150,000 contract you're staring at. It's a fucking no-brainer for me.
Yeah, and it's going to allow you to, if I go back and have a look at some of my experiences, I remember I had this client and we called it the Mansion. It's a residential client on like
it's nice.
Might be 1,000 square meter block.
Yeah.
And it was one of those gigs where I would go there weekly and there was no set price. I used to just charge them for whatever I did. And so I could be pretty flexible. Like, you wouldn't sort of cut the hand that feeds type of thing. But you could, if you let's say you missed out on a $50 lawn, you could kind of offset that on there if you wanted to. You could have a little bit of a win. Now, they had these massive tree hedges, and I remember
backbreakers.
Yeah, even if you have a look back at some of my social media stuff, maybe you'll see I couldn't do it anymore. But anyway, I do remember a point in time. This is not when I was very successful. I'm sure I was having some success, but not where I had been later on in life. I was using a pretty flogged out Shindewa. Actually, I might have been using Stihl at the time. And gearbox locked up right in the middle of the job. I couldn't wait for a repair. I really needed to get that job done. It was really important. And I remember I went down and I fully had to part with like $750 at the time of my own money, which was a lot of money to me back then.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't remember if I had kids.
$750 is a lot of money to me now.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money to anyone. And anyone who doesn't treat $750 like a lot of money is...
Tell me your secrets.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... You know, these are all the things. Like, you do that once or twice or three times in a year, you know, all of a sudden you're looking at $2,000.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point of the story is that back then I never you know, even considered a finance model. And obviously I came out the end of this fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had to just, like, go and draw out $750 of my own money. That was something I never accounted for. It really, really, really hurt me back then. At least now, you know, we all have the options. There's, what do we got? Zip, Afterpay, Hum. Now, I don't actually use any of these services myself. I just don't do a lot of online shopping.
Yeah. No, neither
but these are all interest-free programs, right?
Yeah.
And they, so that's definite?
I know that, like, Afterpay and things like that are interest
Yeah,
free.
okay, cool. So
There are fees, though, if you fuck up. That's where they make their money. If you make a mistake, they make their money on a portion from the seller.
Yep.
And then they make a lot of money on people who fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, so there's risks both ways. Like, there's risks if you use your own cash. There's risks if you use someone else's cash.
Yeah.
But I guess the whole thing is sort of case dependent. But, you know, some of these interest-free gigs, you kind of can't afford not to do them, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you're losing out on?
Exactly.
We'll
put you straight back in the field. Like, if you could do that. And, you know, we've both got young families and we both aren't millionaires. So $750 out of a weekly budget that wasn't expected. I mean, if you have a float for tools, then ace. Like, I've got a float for tools now. But if you didn't, then fucking $750 is a big kick in the dick. And
I mean, I have a float for products as well. But we still don't go out and use that float. We still go on 30 or 60 day accounts.
Yeah.
Because it's still, you know, $40,000 worth of product to lose is still a lot to lose. So, you know, Equipment Defender, let's say they send me a bill for 27,000 American. We don't have to, like, we still take from our float account.
Yeah.
However, we are allowed to divide that up into 4 separate payments, so that you're not losing. And what we also don't do is we keep all of our funds in our main interest account.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, budgeting and stuff, which I don't know is the smartest idea. But, you know, some people move their money around. They're like, okay, fuck it. This is going to be for this. This is going to be for my GST portion. Rah, rah.
Yeah.
We just keep it all somewhere where it just builds the most interest it can possibly build, because we're going to get hammered on it later on down the future.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that's a great scenario. You know, like, you need to go and get a whole battery rig.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about a $600 combi unit. We're talking about rapid chargers, hedger, multi-tool,
The works,
fucking,
like,
you know,
$4,000 worth of shit.
Yeah.
Depending on how many people you have to, you know, sort out.
Yeah. So, I think that's really smart. Now, even if you're talking about, like, there is just tons of talk about, you know, push and self-propelled mowers these days.
Yeah.
Now, these things are bloody expensive now. Like,
Yeah, I remember my last, like, I got a push mower for like $1,100, and that was a Honda fucking HRU 196 Heritage.
yeah, there's a couple of different models.
Yeah, that was back when they had the Heritage model out. It was $1,100. Now I think the same thing is like $1,500. So that's a big jump.
Yeah, and to outlay, let's say your mower fucks up, and for you to outlay the $1,400 to do the same thing that you were gonna do anyway, so you're not earning anything extra. You know, it's maybe not that bad to just sort of put that on some sort of Hum or Afterpay outfit where, you know,
the sting
it's going to cost.
So bad.
Yeah, you know, you can part with $120 a week if you absolutely have to, and certainly the payments wouldn't be.
So I think like Afterpay is like a four week sort of thing, but you know what? It's just finance will let you achieve some of the goals that you wouldn't be able to achieve using your own money. Like, I know there's times where I haven't had backup money and I've still used finance because, you know, sometimes you need to do it.
Look, if you feel strongly enough about a certain situation, you know, let's say you land a 5-acre property and you don't have any other acreage clients, and you land that property and you truly believe in your heart that that's going to open up more doors for you, and you want to go out and get yourself a Hustler Fast Track or just whatever the case may be, and it's going to be, you know, a $10,000 purchase. You know, the risk versus reward is really not that high.
No.
The reward is potentially much higher than what the potential bad downside risk is going to be.
Yeah.
At the very worst, you're going to fuck up on 10 grand.
Yeah.
Which would be tragic. I'm not going to say it, but it's not life threatening.
No.
At the very highest, man, that 5-acre client could turn into a 10-acre client, or it could turn into this dude down the road. It's his best mate, and he's got 30 acres down there.
Yeah.
And not only does he have 30 acres down there, but his brother's got 7 acres around the corner.
Yeah.
So they're all some of the things to consider. What we'd really love is we would love some feedback on, you know, some of the finance risks that you have taken. Now, when I say risks, I'm not telling people to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
And say take all these, you know, everything has to be a calculated risk. I'd also love to hear from some of the people that do use cash.
Yeah.
And let me know some of your experiences, whether they're good or bad. It'd be great to hear that.
Yeah.
Just so that we can come on the next show and give people some of that feedback. We don't really have any other, say, third party
No, I don't have any specials.
experiences that we can say, but like, have you ever been stung by any cash purchases?
Cash purchases, yes. I
know. I'll just say one quickly that, you know, when in the very early stages of Catch Pro, you know, and I was never a rich man, but we used our own money to fund Catch Pro.
Yeah.
We didn't go and get any loans or anything like that. We just, you know, we had some money in the bank, and we weren't making large purchases of anything, but it's like, okay, the draft drawings, they cost us $3,000, which we paid. Then the business name cost us this, and then that insurance cost us that. So, you know, by the end of it, pretty quickly you got to $20,000.
Choose up real quick.
And I mean, you know, now that was a situation where you can't make the money back unless you're selling something.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than working with your hands, whereas if you got the money, you can go out there and earn it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm telling you, like, I really and truly, you know, when we first started, you know, like, I spent all my money. And ultimately I had to borrow from friends.
Yeah.
And I felt so strongly that if I could get another $10,000 from somewhere, that I would make it out the other end. And luckily I did. And luckily I had people around me that could do that. Now, I couldn't finance anything then because, well, there was nothing really to finance. You can't take out finance to buy
Something.
like a bunch of folded metal.
Yeah.
So the banks actually told me I could get what do they call it? Plant finance, like plant equipment finance.
Yeah.
I could get that all day long, but I didn't really have any need for it. I needed funds. I needed some fucking money.
Yeah. My cash experience, the Walker.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I bought a Walker cash. Bought it from a down in New South Wales. It was second hand. Got up here, it was completely fucked. The money's already exchanged hands. I was kind of at a loss. I was just lucky that I had a good mechanic, and he just went into bat for me. Like, I didn't even have to pick up the phone. He went in straight away and said, "This is fucked. You're a Walker dealer. If you don't send me the parts to fix this fucking thing, you've advertised it as an A triple plus mechanically sound machine. If you don't send me the parts to fix it, then I'm advising him to take you to court." So I was lucky someone went into bat for me, but the money had already exchanged hands. So, I mean, at least with a financial institution, I guess, like, you could say, like, pause the payments, and I don't know.
Possibly,
I don't know how
yeah.
that works. But yeah, that was one of my cash purchases that I really regretted because I fucking spent, $9,000 on this walker and I was $9,000 down and I had a fucking machine I couldn't use.
Yeah, tragic stuff. So, all right, well, time to change the tone a little. Let's talk about bad workwear.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
So remember, everybody, support the business that supports us.
Yes, please.
Get yourself some flashy new work gear. You can use the code SKULL in capitals at the Bad Workwear website. Also, any bad workwear that we have on the Catch Pro website, you can also use SKULL. Now, it's getting into that period where you can get some long pants, maybe bust out a flanny.
Do you reckon I should get some long pants?
Well, I know you're a hot dude, right? I'm actually wearing long pants now.
I know. You're making me hot.
And yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm regretting it a little bit. It's a bit cloudy and breezy today.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to be working physically very hard. I kind of like working with long pants on,
Yeah, look, my lads started working with long pants. Will's working with long pants. I got the boys. I got Will a nice wide brimmed hat. I got Robbie the Legionnaires. They're digging those. I don't know, man. I love the gear. It fits me. You know what? That's the one thing I fucking hate about going to the shops is and it was a big leap of faith trying, just getting some bad workwear because I didn't get to try it on first. But I'm telling you right now, it's a fucking cunt. I was supposed to say the comfiest workwear that I've ever.
Can you leave that in there?
Can I leave that in there?
Oh my god!
You said boner at the start.
I hope my mum doesn't listen.
Oh fuck! Apologise for that. That
BJ
wasn't
just
actually...
dropped the C bomb.
Yeah, that's the one where we're never supposed to. I was supposed to say the comfiest workwear. That...
I could have dropped the C bomb in last episode when I was getting real passionate about that.
Oh man, yeah, he's really fucking put a bee in your bonnet. But yeah, SKULL all in caps. I'm so sorry about the C word. What is it? badworkwear.com.au. Fucking get on there, get some good shit.
And also, what we'd love to see is if, because I do believe that you can buy bad workwear shirts and you can actually get them to print your own company label on it.
No way.
Yeah, they do provide that service. Now, I haven't done that. I would love to see, I don't know anyone else who's actually done that yet. I'd love to see that. Also, one thing, when you order, they've got the bad window stickers. Get yourself a window sticker, post it up on Instagram, Facebook, or send it to us. Give Skull Sessions a tag or Catch Pro a TBL along with bad workwear and join the Bad Nation.
We know how many people have bought bad workwear. We get the sheet, so we need to see some more photos. Even if it was like a pair of undies or something. Or a pair of socks.
In saying that, also, what we'd love to hear about is potential topics.
Yes, for sure.
Next up, we have a family work-life balance.
Yep, we decided
episode.
That that's a goer.
We'd love to hear some pre-comments. So if you want to comment down below or, reach out to either of us.
Yeah.
If there's anything that you want us to specifically touch on.
Yep.
Whether it's...
Each other.
Whether it's, let's say, new family, small children, time with the wife, not enough time to clean the house.
Holidays.
That's correct. Whatever it is, we can talk about, and I'm sure we have a story for.
For sure.
Because we've been, I've been living this for 20 years. You've been living this for almost 10.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all businesses can relate in some way, shape or form.
Also, throw us, if there's any industry cool cats you cannot live without seeing on the Skull Sessions, let us know. We're always up for a chat. So if there's anyone that you really think will gel well, I can send us their name and we'll hit them up. There's a few talks in the works, but I'll leave those to be announced in the future.
And until then, check out Aussie Lawn Stars with Gary Ashton. He's always got some cool interviews. Don't forget to shout out our mates at Stripe Life.
Pew.
Get some merch going. Now let us know if you want to see those dudes on our show.
Yeah.
They're talking about doing some sort of maybe weekly or fortnightly show where we discuss the industry on a global stage.
Yeah.
Which could be pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
It's just to know whether we can be fucked doing it.
It's a lot of work.
Well, and what I mean by that is that with the time differences, someone has to sacrifice something, and it's going to be some sleep.
And who's producing it? There's lots of fucking things to work out.
Yeah, I don't think I've thought this through, but we still need the feedback.
We do,
and really enjoyed this time today talking about finance.
Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Peace.